Hi. Now you've finished your beautiful Sashiko piece, you might be wondering, how do you wash it? How do you take care of it properly? So before I start talking about this, I just want to clarify, I'm talking about the traditional Sashiko with the Sashiko thread and the cotton or the cotton linen fabric. I'm not talking about embroidery floss on other things. If you're using synthetics or other modern materials, the care might be different. I think, Sashiko's an old form of Japanese embroidery. It was traditionally used by working class people, really, and they used it to reinforce, patch, and pad garments with the aim of extending their life and adding warmth or protection. Actually, though, many older garments were made from hemp, especially before cotton was used in a widespread kind of a way in Japan. And it's interesting that the hemp leaf pattern is a much used one in Sashiko embroidery. It's the asanoha. So I think these garments were always intended to be washed, just not with the machines that we have today. Back then there weren't modern washing machines or dryers. The Japanese people usually washed in a kind of a tub with warm water. Today's washers and dryers are so rough on clothing with agitation and spinning, and the dryers can cause some shrinkage. So how you wash Sashiko depends on how the item will be used, basically. And for many pieces, I'd rule out machine washing straight away. So if you take wall hangings, for example, like these. These are usually made from samples. They've got intricate patterns and they're displayed, not used. At least mine are made from samplers. I'm not artistic enough to do these, but they don't need washing unless something happens. If you do wash them, I recommend hand washing and air drying. And you can give them a light press with an iron if you need to. They must be safe to go in water at some point, because if you think about it, the patterns are water soluble, so the aim is to wet them to get the pattern off. So I think that they're clearly meant to be able to get wet. They just need to be treated really gently. Now, when you're sewing Sashiko, there are built-in stitching techniques, and these are partly designed to make Sashiko more washing friendly. They let you make nicer looking stitches, but they also help to prevent shrinkage. So if you think about some of my other videos, I've shown how I control the tension carefully while I'm sewing. And that's one of the ways that you can help against the shrinkage. Sashiko thread is known to shrink. And also when I'm carrying thread across the back of the fabric, I'll leave a little loop like this one. Do you see that? And in Hitomizashi, the grid style pattern, I always leave that little loose thread at the end of every row. So these techniques, they give the Sashiko thread that little chance to shrink a little without distorting the fabric. So when you first begin Sashiko, you actually have to remember to do this, but it just becomes a habit, and I do it no matter what I'm making. Well, hand washing is best, but is it practical? Sometimes it's just not. So a long time ago, I made this king-sized quilt. I've shown it in another video, but here it is again. It's cotton with a lot of little Sashiko areas, and I use it on my bed all the time. It's much too big and heavy to hand wash. So I don't recommend this, but I do put it in my washing machine on a gentle cycle and in the dryer for a little bit on a cooler setting, but I try to air dry it when I can. And Sabi also sleeps on the bed. I was a bit nervous the first time I washed it. It took me months of work, but it held up great. I'm particularly interested in using Sashiko in quilts. So this is something that I come up against quite a bit. Generally speaking, I would recommend, if I give a quilt to someone, that they try to hand wash it. If that's not possible, to put it on a very gentle cycle in the washing machine. And also I would say try not to use the dryer. These quilts, they do dry quite easily, especially the smaller ones outside. They'll dry in the sun. I think that's the best way to handle them. Having said that, I've not really had a problem with the quilts that I've washed. This one I'm working on here is going to be a baby quilt. It's one I started and then set aside and haven't done any work on, so now I need to get it finished. It's 100% cotton and it has actual Sashiko thread, so I'm doing the control stitching and I'm leaving loose threads at the back and just hope that it'll be okay. I have other items that I treat with a lot less care, and these are mostly jeans. I've repaired them with Sashiko because they're already well worn, so I wouldn't be able to wear them without the Sashiko on them. I decided a long time ago to do nice Sashiko on them, but then treat them just the way I always treat my jeans. They'll last as long as the Sashiko holds, and if I have to go back and add more, well, that's okay. So what about Boro? It's the tradition of patching clothes and then Sashiko stitches holding the layers together. Some of these really old fabrics that have been repaired over and over are now highly valued. You can see the beauty in the patterns formed from many generations of repairs. On jeans, sometimes I fuse the fabric patches on and then Sashiko stitch over them. And if they fray in the wash, that's fine. I actually like that look. Other times, perhaps on bags, I'll sew down the edges because I want a neater look. So if you want frayed, then the washing machine's fine. But if you want something neater, I'd suggest hand washing. You'll notice a lot of deep blue in many Sashiko pieces, and this is often indigo dye. Did you know it's got natural insect repellent and antibacterial properties? So great for workwear. This is a t-shirt we bought in Japan that's indigo dyed. The drawback is that if you're using indigo dyed fabric or Sashiko thread, you do need to be careful within the first few washes because it can bleed or transfer dye, especially if it wasn't pre-washed. So wash it separately, wash it in cold water and avoid harsh detergents. Some items need extra care and others can be treated more casually. If you just plan ahead a little, think about what you're going to use the item for, remember to do your care of your Sashiko stitching, leaving the loose threads, you'll be successful. Your Sashiko will be beautiful and washable. So if you were wondering how to care for your Sashiko pieces, I hope this video has been helpful. Please subscribe, and if you hit the notification bell, you won't miss my videos. Thanks for watching.